you guys so much for coming to tonight's meeting. Tonight's meeting is in regards to the Evergreen Valley College General Plan Amendment. My name is Kimberly Vacca. I'm with the city's planning division. Here tonight is my supervisor, Jared Hart, as well as Karen Nguyen, also with the planning division. So how this will go, I will give a brief presentation about the proposal, and then it'll be followed by comments and questions from you all. I want to have as much time tonight for this open forum as shown on the agenda, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the applicant for this project is Republic Family of Companies, and they are representing the landowner for this site, which is the San Jose Evergreen Community College District. The proposal is for a general plan amendment request to change the general plan's land use transportation diagram for a 27-acre site from public quasi-public to neighborhood community commercial. This is the site is shown on this aerial. 27 acres, like I said, it's predominantly vacant with some training facilities and some vacant office buildings. The current general plan land use designation is public quasi-public, and the zoning designation is R15, single family residential and agriculture. So to understand this request and this process, you need to understand what the general plan is. So what is the general plan? The general plan is the city's official policy statement regarding its future character, land use patterns, and quality of development. The purpose of this document, it provides a vision for the city's future and then major strategies in order to achieve that vision. So it's very forward thinking. It also applies standards for city services such as fire and police response times, and it includes a land use transportation diagram plan, which I'll go into in a little bit. We've had many general plans starting in 1976 with GP 75 up until today's general plan, which is the envisioned San Jose 2040 general plan. So here's the city's general plan land use transportation diagram. You can see it provides a variety of different colors or land uses throughout the city. Each property within the city has a land use. It could range from residential to commercial to industrial to open space. And each different land use allows a different variety of uses. So how this applies to our site tonight. The site is outlined in red on the left. The existing, like I said, general plan land use transportation diagram designation is public quasi-public. What the applicant is seeking to do on the 27 acres is change it over here to the neighborhood community commercial designation. So what does that mean? For public quasi-public, this is used to designate public land uses, which include schools, colleges, corporation yards, homeless shelters, libraries, fire stations, convention centers and auditoriums, museums, government offices, and airports. It can also be used for some private uses, including private schools, daycare centers, hospitals, public utilities, and facilities to provide public serving services. The proposed land use designation of neighborhood community commercial supports a broad range of commercial activity, including neighborhood serving retail and services and commercial professional office development. It has a strong connection to and provides services and amenities for nearby communities. And it has an urban form that supports walking, transit use, and public interaction. Note that it has a floor area ratio, or FAR, of up to 3.5. However, this site is also within the Evergreen East Hills Development Policy Area, and that area restricts the amount of development that is able to occur on this site.
Can you explain that? What is 3.5?
Sure, so the FAR of 3.5, that means that if you take the square footage of the property, you can times that by 3.5, and that's the amount of commercial square footage that you can have on site. So for example, if you have a 100 square foot site, you times that by 3.5 and you can do 350 square feet of commercial. Also, no residential is allowed under this land use designation. So the proposal is strictly just for commercial, retail, and office only. So questions are for the end, once I'm done, thank you. So the Evergreen East Hills Development Policy, like I mentioned before, it was approved in 2008 by our City Council. It allows a limited increase in development in the Evergreen East Hills area, and it ties that new development to transportation infrastructure improvements. So if a building goes in, it's tied to improving the traffic infrastructure of the area. This policy provides capacity for, in the entire area, 500 residential units, 500,000 square feet of commercial, and 75,000 of retail, and 75,000 square feet of commercial in the entire area. Once that's used, that's it. So since 2008, we've had a variety of different developments be approved in this area. So the remaining capacity is 48,000 square feet of commercial and 24,000 square feet of office. So that is all that the maximum that the developer will be able to do, pulling from the pool. So why are we here tonight? What are the next steps moving forward? The application is currently under review by staff. We are hoping to gain input from you guys at tonight's meeting and answer any questions you may have. We are evaluating the proposal with policies, goals, and major strategies of the general plan. These policies help us determine whether we support or do not support this project. Additionally, there is an environmental review going on for this proposal. This takes the form of an initial study. An initial study was released this Monday online. It's available to the public, and it'll have a 20-day public circulation period. So if you go online and you read the document, you're able to provide public comment. And this will be kept in record, and you'll receive a response to your comments by our environmental planner. After we review this document and gain your input and review the environmental document, we will be taking our recommendation to the Planning Commission on September 28th. We will be saying whether we support or do not support this project, and then the Planning Commission will be recommending our approval or denial to City Council, and the City Council hearing will be November 15th, and they will ultimately decide whether the general plan amendment is approved or not. All right, so that concludes my presentation, and we will now open it up to the open forum. Before we begin, I want you to please keep in mind, if you grabbed an agenda, there is a code of conduct on the back. Please read that over and be respectful of your neighbors. Also, additionally, how this will work is if you can please raise your hand. I will call on you only one time, so make sure your comments count. Please limit your comments to around a minute. As you can see, we have a pretty full room this evening, and we'll be writing your comments down on our comment board over here. I also want to point out, I don't know if I can take this. Okay, I also want to point out that we have a summary. We had a community meeting last Monday about this exact same proposal, and I just want to summarize the comments that we received so that you guys can provide additional comments. So, community members at the last meeting wish to preserve the land in question for school purposes and expansion. They said there's not enough classes and amenities at the Evergreen Valley College to accommodate local and regional populations. They seek to maintain public uses on the site and not develop commercial or retail uses that include minimum wage jobs. They wish to include recreational fields and open space on site for outdoor recreation. They also wish to place commercial development on the corner of Paseo de Arboles and San Felipe Road if it must be built. And please bear in mind that this is not representative of the entire group. These are individual comments. Community members also expressed concern or comment about the level of service on the roadways. They believed it was inadequate and that they're unsafe. They think the proposal restricts educational opportunity, that there's an oversaturation of commercial development in the area, that the neighborhood community commercial land use is predominantly used in urban villages and it's best suited to those areas, not here. They requested an environmental impact report. They believe there is a current lack of lands for public uses within the city, and that the proposal is inconsistent with the state of California general plan guidelines. Members also stated that the Evergreen Valley Community College District is illegally moving forward with the application, and they requested the city attorney to look into this issue. They also stated that there's a fault line on the property which makes this land unsafe. The Evergreen Valley College cannot renovate existing buildings due to significant cost, and that there would be an unequitable distribution of public services if this proposal were to go through. Members stated that there is inadequate funding of the San Jose Evergreen Community College District, and that has led to this proposal to lease land for commercial uses. That there's minimal payback to the community on the current proposed lease agreement, and that there is also favor of the project as the property is currently underutilized. So comments tonight should not be about the school. They should not be about whether this school is adequate or inadequate. What we are seeking to get comments are on the land use change, specifically to the neighborhood community commercial, which includes commercial, office, and retail uses. That is the application in front of us, and that is what we are currently evaluating. So thank you very much, and now we'll open it to the floor. Sir.
I noticed on the map here that the site is not exactly what you had up there. The site actually goes into property that Evergreen College is already on. So can you tell me why there's two different sites here, and what are you going to rezone? Are you going to, obviously this site here is not, is a superset of that site.
No problem. So the reason that that boundary map was used is because it includes parcels that are included in this site. So the applicant only wishes to change the general plan land use. There is not a rezoning application at this time, just to clarify. Or only this in red. However, that entire site was outlined because it includes a parcel that extends over here, and this parcel which extends all the way over here.
Right.
So it would not be for all of these parcels.
So what are you rezoning?
Only the area in red. There's no rezoning application. It's only a general plan land use amendment. And it's only the area in red. The reason that it was included in the boundary map as such is because for a broader range of notification, because it does affect those parcels.
Right, I was wondering how it was 1,000 feet away from that site. I mean,
Right.
Right. I walk, I know much farther. So there's no worry here about, sneaking in this whole area having this amendment or whatever you want to.
No, they would have to file a new general plan amendment for us.
So why do they have the whole, I don't care about, I completely understand parcels, right?
Right.
But why do they, it
That's
makes me
just the
nervous.
boundary map, sir.
Yeah.
The map that's in the application
When it was
is not
talking
that.
like the whole pool of things they could put inside, is that the boundary?
I believe that map was used for noticing.
Just
And
don't,
then used
Just-
for noticing as well, just kind of seeing it from here.
yeah.
I'm not sure exactly which map it is, but that's the boundary, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
It's used for our noticing purposes, for community meetings and public hearings.
Do I get one or two questions or none?
If you can please go back to your slide, the one of the area that 48,000 something was showing. That's the only remaining capacity, which is about a little more than an acre. And if you even add that one, why do they need 27 acres if you only have this remaining capacity? It doesn't make any sense. So this is a point to see that there is only available for about an acre. Of course, it's a 3.5 FAR. You don't even need an acre, you can build it up.
Right.
So less than half an acre, you can make this, you can go there. You're just building another dubious purpose, looks like 27 acre. Doesn't make any sense if you look at this. Please note that one, calculations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's what the applicant has submitted to us, and we're
All right, so,
analyzing.
We informed them of that in our 30-day letter.
so we didn't need to go ahead
Can
with
you
this.
repeat the remark, because those of us in the back cannot hear.
Sure, I'll repeat the question. So the gentleman up front said for the audience and for staff to please note that there's only 48,000 square feet of commercial and 24,000 square feet of office, which could be used as well, remaining in the Evergreen East Hills development policy. So that is the total capacity that they would be able to build pulling from the pool. And so he said that it's absurd to use the entire 27 acres for development when they can only build that much square footage.
Good point.
Thank you. Sir?
I'm John Goldstein. I'm pastor of Grace Church.
Hi.
If you're looking at the map that we have, you see that the college has about 130 acres, as I understand, it's college. You've got 27 acres that they want the plan change. And if you're looking around, living in Evergreen, we're a town of housing tracts and strip malls. And it seems to me that that area there, if it's going to be developed, it would make sense to develop it so we could create some kind of a magnet for the community where we can gather and meet and so on. The nearest thing we have to that right now is Evergreen Village Square. Obviously it's small and very localized. But if that could be developed as an area of, going to be commercial and public use with some kind of use where we can gather and talk and be together as a community, it seems like that would be a very constructive use of the site. And also the college itself could become more part of the community if it was somehow obviously related into that site, rather than just being developed. One of my concerns, and I think we hear this over, is I think we're afraid that this is going to be just another strip mall in Evergreen. And I don't think anybody wants another strip mall. We need something that gives us character, a sense of personnel of who we are, and maybe that could be something that we could do, that could be done through this site.
Thank
So
you.
that's my comment.
Thank you very much.
What John just described is exactly what public, quasi-public is intended for. It's intended for the public's use, neighborhood gatherings, and all about that. So when the city, in the 2040 plan, they said that the intent of public, quasi-public is to preserve that land in order to maintain it for the purposes that we're talking about. And when we change it, if they change it to NCC, it's commercial and retail. That's it. That's what NCC covers. Now you got walkways and stuff like that, but it's just pure commercial and retail. Doesn't have to take into account any of these public gathering areas that we're talking about and attracting the community. Doesn't have any public land use associated with it. All commercial, retail. I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Honda Center that students would be able to go and learn from increasing the automotive technology department, and maybe a few higher-end restaurants or family-style restaurants and useful amenities in the caliber of CVS and Wells Fargo could be added, which would provide more choices for Evergreen residents and convenient part-time work and or internships for EVC students. As it is now, when I go to doctor's appointments, I'm going to Good Samaritan. It would be actually nice to have medical offices that are closer to me, especially as I get older. Okay, we would like to see paths that connect EVC to the existing Evergreen Marketplace and the new development that are clean, ample, well-lit in the evening. We would like to see paths to be, the paths to be pedestrian and bike-friendly. We would like a safe, integrated walking and bicycle trail from the Estates neighborhood to EVC and the Montgomery Hill walking loop. The Estates neighborhood south of Evergreen Valley College and paralleling Yerba Buena Road has a footbridge closer to the Evergreen Valley College campus, and it leads to the amphitheater entrance directly to the campus via Yerba Buena Road. It would be appreciated if a crosswalk with a stoplight is added to Yerba Buena Road at that footbridge, which would ensure pedestrian safety and would help to slow down the traffic on Yerba Buena Road. Retaining and improving the walking trails near Falls Creek to EVC and the development would be appreciated. And then this is just to make a comment on the pastor's comment about the 130 acres. Evergreen Valley College has 164 acres. And when you subtract all of the little plots of land on Evergreen Valley College, you actually get a campus that is about the size of 125 acres. And that is after you take away the 27 acres. So if you took that 27 acres away, you would have a campus that was conservatively 125 acres or 118.45 acres. And I can tell you very quickly the calculation that we used. Ours is actually more conservative than what the district had said. So here's our calculation. There's
So if you could please wrap up your comments.
Yeah, there's 164 acres. You subtract 5.3 acres from the designated fault zone land. You subtract 27 acres for the development. You subtract 15 acres around Montgomery Hill Observatory because everybody wants to walk around Montgomery Hill. Everybody wants to keep that land. You take away 6.5 acres from Evergreen Marketplace, 6.5 acres from the solar field array, west property line, and then you add in the 12.75 acres of paved parking. That gives you almost 120 acres of campus. That's after you develop 27 acres.
Second here, the woman thing.
The vast majority of the uses that Brenda just explained do not require an amendment to the general plan. The existing zoning would cover most of those uses, including all the footpaths and walking around and buildings and real estate education
You
partnerships.
need it for restaurants.
If
Please do
there
not
were
respond to comments.
48,000 square feet available for commercial development, we already have 300,000 square feet of vacant buildings, commercial buildings in Evergreen that are waiting for these businesses to come to them and serve us. We are short quite a few grocery stores recently, as well as other businesses. So I would like to say to all the union members here, I am a member of AFT 6157, and we support development of that land for educational purposes. Does not require any rezoning. Yeah.
I'm Eric Narveson. I'm the Academic Senate President at Evergreen Valley College. I'm the one who went public with this whole idea with the Public Urban Properties at the board meeting. I just want to point out a few facts. Republic was the sole bidder on this project. Just so you know, there's been no alternative to this presented to the district or to the city. And they developed the RFP in the first place. So they developed their own project and then bid on their own project with nobody else bidding against them. So there could be alternatives to this other than this plan. Jobs, I see my union brothers and sisters sitting here on AFT 6157. Also, I saw some members of CSEA 363 here as well. I guarantee you, if that land is left open for Evergreen, we will be building buildings there, and you will have the jobs to do that because we hire a union. So it's not an either-or situation or threatening your jobs. We need that land to move away from the earthquake fault. If you look on the map, you'll see a general triangle of buildings that look like little squares. Those two have to come down. They're sitting on top of an earthquake fault. We have to replace that square footage just to stay the same size as a college. Where do we put that stuff? Where do we put those buildings? That's what we've been asking for as a faculty for the last year and a half now, is give us some of that land, district, when we use that. They want to develop it for a very small amount of rental price. Just letting you know.
Hi, my name is Wesley Lee, and I'm part of just residents here, just trying to make Evergreen Valley College, the best it can be. And I've been circulating a petition, so if anybody wants to sign this, you can see me or go online there. I just had a couple of questions as well as a comment as well. So the question I have is kind of related to some of the other comments that have been made here, and that is, what is the compelling reason for changing land designation from PQP, Public Quasi Public, to NCC, Neighborhood Community Commercial? Okay, and that is, how is educational goals of EVC better served by this new designation to NCC? So I'm going to kind of break this question down a little bit here. And the second part of the question is, how does the commercial development serve an unmet or desirable need to the Evergreen community? In other words, is there something in a commercial need that we need, such as a grocery store, gas station, whatever it may be, that the community is clamoring for, and that the developer can bring that to our community? So that is part of my question here. So the first part is, as previously stated by Chancellor Budd, she has gone on record and quoted in the EV Times, July 22nd, August 4th, and she says, as one of the uses of development to be considered is a UC satellite office and extension. Other possibilities include a nursing and mental health facility, a business campus designed for community outreach for interns, and a partnership with an aquatic center. So I have a question for you is, these things that I've just mentioned, that I'm quoting from the Chancellor, can these things be built within the existing public, quasi-public designation?
Anything that's a public use that's serving the school and built by the school can be built into PQP, Public Quasi Public designation.
Okay, yeah, so in other words, the district, the things that the district says that they want to do, they can do it within the existing PQP designation.
Right,
Okay.
the reason that they came in with this application is because they're proposing uses that are not school uses, such as
Okay.
retail and commercial, so they
Okay.
needed to.
Okay, so I have a question for the applicant, or I don't know if the developer is here.
The
or maybe-
applicant is not available.
Okay, so maybe you can respond to this, and that is, what is, what is it that the applicant can provide for the community here that the community really wants? What is something they can lay on the table and say, hey, yes, I want to have neighborhood community commercial because you can offer this. Is there anything that the applicant can provide for the community here? You must have been talking with the applicant, they may have suggested something. Is there anything that you can respond to that?
Right, so this is not a city-initiated general plan, like you're aware, so we did not come in and say, please process this so we can have X, Y, and Z for this city. This fell into our laps as they submitted it in March. So we're just evaluating it with our goals and policies to see, does this fall in line with what we've envisioned in our general plan? So from our standpoint, that's up for the applicant to provide the services that they're envisioning.
Yeah, so I just feel it's a little bit disrespectful for the applicant to not even show up.
There you go.
So I have another comment about the land use here. Okay, so, can I just, last comment here? Okay, so I like to talk about the land use and that this land here is a congested area that does not promote a sustainable business environment for retail or office outside the Evergreen Valley College area. As you know, the property is bounded by San Felipe north-south and Iberville Buena east-west, essentially bounded like an elbow here, and it's kind of landlocked into that area like a headlock there. And due to this remote location of the site and being fed by a small country-like road, San Felipe, and a hilly traversal over from 101, that's Yuba Buena, the primary customers in this area will be primarily Evergreen residents and not from other places around the city because it's just inconvenient. So I just want to get an idea of the market climate in Evergreen and to see what it would be like. So I actually did a survey in Evergreen Village Square, which is about a mile away from this site. It's about 10 acres, similar in size. I just wanted to see how many vacancies were in this area. And this is what I found. Suite 50, 1,300 square feet vacant. Suite 20, 3,372 square feet vacant. I can give you these numbers here. I have a document there. Suite 10, 3,738 square feet vacant. Walgreens just recently left, 15,000 square feet. Suite 140, 2,618 square feet vacant. Suite 150, 2,621 square feet vacant. There's a second floor on Altamira, 2,800 square feet vacant. And on Michelangelo, above Chase Bank, there's 3,745 square feet vacant. So in total, there's about 3,500 square feet that is vacant right now. There's 22 active businesses, so there's a ratio here of about 3-to-1 vacancies here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Sir?
I am closely associated with the college. I don't work there, I don't teach there. But what I want to say is that was designated surplus in 2004. In 2004, Quimby was a 2-lane road. Evergreen Valley High School did not exist. Mirasu Winery still existed on Avon. And the whole landscape has changed and the needs have changed. So given that somebody is going after the 2004 designation, doesn't make sense. I go by the college, there are faculty offices on trailers, there are classrooms on trailers. I want to know why can't the old so-called condemned building for the administration be raised with the high rent prices? They sell the headquarters in downtown, build themselves something here so that they can meet the students, meet the faculty, and do something for the students and the faculty and the community. There are students who cannot take classes in Evergreen because classes get canceled. constantly, term after term. It's not just a 1 or 2 time deal. Term after term. Third thing, what I had mentioned to Chancellor Buttle in the last meeting, if they really want money, they can get more than $1.5 million a year from the rental by soliciting donations and writing project proposals to the different agencies. I get bombarded with my alumni, my wife's alumni, my children's high school alumni. Please give us money for this, please give us money for that, and we are constantly giving money. There is no reason alumni will not donate money if you have a good cause for the furthering of the education. Not a single postcard or phone call has come asking for money from this college. You know, I really am amazed how a board of a college can really mortgage the future of the students they're supposed to serve. I mean, how much money did they get from the developer for the re-election campaign?
Oh, tons. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not a very good speaker. I've been going to these meetings since the very first Evergreen meeting. And I wanted to note a few things that you have gotten forgotten in the mix. One is that we wouldn't have even known about that first meeting hadn't it been for someone who works for the district bringing it up. A master plan had been brought out. No one had been notified. No one had been asked about their opinion. There was no community input. You had a developer who was working with the district to develop a plan. They developed a request for a proposal, I assume it was an RFP, and then, amazingly, this RFP was geared in such a way, think how big this project is. This project was geared in such a way that no one even bid it, except for the developer that engineered it with the district. One bidder at that meeting. One bidder turned in an envelope. No one even showed up.
Dishonesty.
Something is
Kind of crooked, don't you think?
And these meetings have been this way from the very beginning. I think, you know, it's pretty obvious this is not welcome. I mean, the other thing that I think may have been forgotten in the mix is when they talk about surplus land. I'm not sure if it's changed. We should take a look at the last plan that I saw. It was a joke. They were talking about when they were talking about squeezing everything in and saying they had enough room, they had an architect, and basically what they said is, make this all fit so we can call this surplus land. They had their fields with no pool, their fields, and I know they're going to build a pool that we're going to share with them. I don't even know if that's still in the plan. But their master plan showed like a soccer field, soccer football field, overlapping with the baseball field. You couldn't use both fields at the same time. That was their master plan. That's what they had to cram in to be able to call this surplus. Personally, I want to see every inch of that land developed. I'd like to see it built. I want to see it built for the best use of the community. I feel it's a social justice issue. I feel we're on the east side. We're being swept under the rug. I've done a lot of work with Foothill. Believe me, if they tried this in Foothill College and Los Altos Hills, there'd be an uproar, and I think we should do the same.
Thank you.
So how is the money going to be allocated? The $1.5 million a year, is that exclusively for Evergreen?
I don't know the logistics of the agreement. The agreement is independent of the application that we are processing, which is why I wanted to focus specifically on the land uses. We are unaware of the agreement between the college and the developer. We know what's going on, but we do not have any of the details. We are just simply processing the land use.
Well, the reason I asked that question is because I've worked in the schools around here, and I don't know if people have actually gone to the schools in San Jose, but there's some schools I wouldn't even let my kids go to. My kids go to school in San Jose. So I think some people should actually go out and look at some of these schools and go in there and see how dilapidated they are. And see, that's why they want the money for the school. Maybe we can get it a different way, but I'm sure Evergreen needs that money really bad, so. It's $100 million.
I realize that as professional planners, you have a very specific role in looking at the general plan amendment.
However, you also need to take into consideration to some degree the context in which the amendment request has come to you. It's very clear through the public record and by actions that the district and developer had a long-term intention of trying to do some high-density use of this site a la an urban village. The evidence is also in the money they have spent on consultants and in doing planning work to show you very specifically what they wanted to do with the high-density housing along Yerba Buena Road. High-density housing that's more appropriate for Cottle and 101, Bascom Avenue, etc. This needs to be taken into consideration, but as planners, I know you can't. So let me help you understand the application.
Sure, so we have
So
a
let me
history.
finish.
Okay, sure.
Okay. When you previously recommended the denial of the application of the district, you indicated that the envisioned plan includes policies supporting the preservation of lands with a public, quasi-public designation such as college site in order to support the future and educational, cultural facilities of the community. While there may be many different planning professionals in the department now, previously you supported the public, quasi-public use of this land. And looking at what you can do this time for us, your general plan policy, IP-4.2, says the general plan amendment process will be used to respond to changing conditions and community needs. In 2004, the district established the site as surplus. When you recommended previously that the quasi-public be maintained, you already knew that, so that is not a changed community condition. The drawdown on the commercial use in the district and the commercial approvals that have occurred, which you just have a fraction of that commercial left at this point in time from the original allocation, doesn't speak to any changed community need for additional commercial. Also, there have not been traffic improvements in the area that would warrant a general plan amendment change at this time. Also on your general plan IP-4.4, you say that the analyzation of the general plan amendment will be based on the merit of individual proposals as well as in the context of cumulative trends and consistency with the general plan vision and city design concepts. So, the developer and the district have a long-term plan to keep coming back to you again and again and again to achieve their objective. That's why they spent the money on the consultant. That's why they spent the money on the plan. That's why they're here now, not here now, with the new plan, with no plans that allow you to implement your general plan policies to look at the city design concepts of a plan, because there is no plan. The plan is a long-term plan to keep coming back again and again and again and ask you to intensify the uses on a piecemeal basis. One of the things that's happened with the site is with the development of the corner on a piecemeal basis, you've limited your ability to widen any roads because of the constraints of the creek. And I'm sorry if I went over.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Level, we don't really need the 27 acres to expand the campus. Acacia and Roble are going to be demolished. It's being used as swing space now, while other programs are moving into buildings that are being built and new facilities are being constructed. It's being projected that in 5 to 8 years it will be demolished. The new South Campus 1 building is 76,396 square feet. It was recently built. It will replace the classroom space that was in Acacia and Roble. And a new automotive building was built, which Roble had, or which Acacia had. A general education classroom building will be constructed, pending funding availability in approximately 5 years. An engineering building may be constructed in 4 years, pending funding availability, and would provide space equal to the renovated facilities that would be removed by Roble and Acacia. A new automotive technology building has been built.
Can you speak up just a little bit, please?
Okay. The new nearly 8,100 square foot fitness building includes a fitness lab, men's and women's locker room and offices. The new police services and central plant are 12,500 square feet. The central green is the open area between the PE building, Roble Student Services, and the Gulo 2 building. It contains both hardscape and planted areas and has held multiple outdoor student functions such as graduation, picnic day, and back to school and welcome. The area is 100,000 square feet. The Cedro building has been renovated. The Cedro building is safe to occupy, and the building did receive upgrades in the last 6 years.
Do you mind summarizing your comments, please?
Basically, what I'm saying is that there is enough acreage to build more buildings. What we need to do is build parking garages, and we need to either create a parking tax or support bonds so this college can maintain its buildings and build more buildings. Because this issue wouldn't be happening in Los Altos. This wouldn't be happening in Cupertino. This isn't affecting Foothill or Pianza because there's enough money.
There is enough money. 15%.
Please do not go around.
I think it's important to realize that she's saying that this is just a comment. There's plenty of land, but if you look at where they just built the new building, it's on a field that was used for soccer and for baseball. If you look where they built the other buildings, it was where kids used to play basketball, right? And they're not building on the land that they have to use there, the surplus land. And the money that they're going to get from that is a pittance. It's $1.5 million. For 27 acres in this valley? Are you kidding? People's houses sell for more than that. It's a pittance, it's a giveaway, it's a setup, it's a freebie for the developer. And if we're not outraged as citizens and put a stop to it, we're crazy. That land should be used for education. The bond money that we put out for it bought that land for education. There should be no more bond money coming to these people building their ivory towers downtown when we here are supplying them with all the money they need for our kids' education, and they waste it. Every time they waste it.
I'm Jim Zito, and I wear two hats. One was planning commissioner for 8 years here. I also sat 4 years on the 2040 general plan, and I can echo what that gentleman said in the back. And we deliberated the land use of the whole city, especially the east side and the industrial and college lands. And it was clearly stated by that task force that these lands were to remain public quasi-public for the purposes of serving the public need for education. Because we are a bedroom community, we need to create jobs, and we need to educate people to fill those jobs. And that was one of the main considerations of why public quasi-public was recommended to stay at that site, and the city council agreed and approved the general plan as it was. This past year, we had an update to that, which I sat on again for a year, and only the urban villages, which is the Evergreen Village Square and others around, were designated to be intensified with commercial. So I believe it would be going against both committees and the designation of the city council to swap this land use to the neighborhood commercial. Second, as a school board member, I'll say that we are looking for sites for schools to educate our kids, and it is unattainable to get land anymore to build schools. It is between $3 and $5 million an acre, and we need a minimum of 10 for an elementary school. Okay, so to give away this land or to change the designation on 27 acres doesn't make sense from the perspective of being able to educate our future children. Okay. Another thing, I sat in a one-day conference today, an education conference by the Silicon Valley Group, and the chancellor of one of the other community colleges, which is affiliated with Penn in the Bay Area. And when I discussed this with her, she said she doesn't understand why, and we used the term, why they're selling the seed. We need this land for expansion, and we need this land to continue the goal of educating our kids.
It is very hard to separate the college from what you're here for. So you have to allow me to speak.
I understand.
Okay? Every Green College should receive about $750,000 out of the $1.5 million annual income from the 27 acres leasing Evergreen College land. Top administrators, annual salary, Chancellor Bud, $355,000, $645,000 approximately. Vice Chancellor Smith, $260,000, $118,000. Vice Chancellor of Human Resources, $264,918. Vice Chancellor of Institutional Effectiveness and Student Services, $241,689. Subtotal, $1,382,480. Add to that the Board of Trustees, health and salaries of $210,000 annually. It comes to a total of $1,592,000. There goes the $1.5 million. Okay, in 1 year. In the August 15 meeting, we were told to put our mouth where the money is. Allow me to respond to that. In my career, I once had to take a $10,000 cut pay when I accepted a teaching job. Last year, my Masonic fraternity donated and fundraised over $1 million scholarships through California. And this year we did the same. In San Jose, we gave $84,000 in scholarships, adding to our program up to Raise a Reader, totaling $109,000 in the San Jose area.
You could please summarize your comments?
I can't, I'm sorry.
You have 1 minute, sir.
I haven't done it.
That's okay, that's all you have. So please.
Okay, I asked during the last recession, did any of the administrators offer to take a cut in salary? And I will leave this with you, please, that you didn't allow me to finish.
Thank you, that's fine. Thank you very much.
My name's Steve Manette, longtime resident. We want the police academy to stay here. I think it's very good for the students and the police to get to learn from each other. The Board of Trustees needs to sell that $20 million palace downtown and come back here and have these folks fix that building up. Other things they can build there, it's already been touched on. I can add to it dormitories, like Sierra College, my alumni. We had the 49ers training there. They had the dormitories. We can bring in more students doing that. With the UC Extension, medical, we don't want apartments, and we said that before. Another thing, thanks for everybody coming, but the most important thing is this next meeting at City Hall. The Planning Commission on, got it, thank you. And let's send a message to the board. There's a man, Rex Randalls, running against Craig Mann. Let's vote that guy out. Let's vote every one of those people out. Did call Sacramento last year. I found out that they don't have any power, only the board does. So let's send them a message on this. Let's vote every one of these guys out of there.
Was very clear last time, and I represent all the construction trades. And very often, because we are in construction, people don't value our opinion, but we also, I want to make it clear that we live and work in a district. So people should take into consideration that we care about what's happening at Evergreen College. And I ask the trades to stand up or raise your hand.
Right, thank you.
So this is the community, and we are here in favor of the project. Again, I made my comments, and I'm speaking in favor of everybody because I don't think you want to give a minute to these guys, because these guys don't take a minute. They usually speak for 10 or more, so you're better off with me. So real quick, a couple of comments. The college didn't sell the land for $1.5 million. This is they listed for $1.5 a year, so it's not like they're giving the land away. And in 2004, the college actually offered the land to everybody, including schools and public agencies. Let's keep in mind that the college has a satellite, or it's building a satellite in Milpitas, so that's like giving this college more room to grow, and so people from Milpitas or around that area don't have to come this way. That should help with the growth. The college has a 40% room to grow, so right now they are not even at full capacity. Regarding why sell the land and not use it for college purposes, just in parking lots, the college has flat parking. That's not in style anymore, especially if you want to do smart growth. The college has 17 acres of parking, flat parking. That doesn't make any sense anymore. Those 17 acres, if you build 4 parking garages, it can take care of all the parking, the flat parking that the college has right now. So at the end, the college has either equal, in comparison, it has equal square footage as Foothill College, and it's slightly a little bit more than Foothill De Anza. So we are in good shape in regards to growth. The college needs the money to continue to fund college programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
The name is Nick Leon. I've 35 years with Eastside Union High School District. I'm retired, and I'm trying to focus this on what you were saying is maybe a little different spin. The tax money that went into purchasing this was dedicated for education, and I heard it say tonight that we know that in Silicon Valley property is scarce. I also heard it mentioned that to build any schools or anything, I think it was mentioned 10 acres, to build a high school, to build anything. And I also know that Excel Middle College is on the campus of Eastside, of Evergreen, and that's high school students who are going to college part of the time and taking their high school classes on the college. My theme is that there's so much that this land needs to be used for education. We're in the heart of Silicon Valley. We're worldwide, we're known for the world, and we decided that this land that is so sacred is going to be used for commercial uses. I find that irreprehensible.
Yes.
And I hope that gives a little different spin on it when I know that in Eastside Union High School District, trying to build a campus someplace, there is no room, yet there's room here, and we want to give it away.
Thank you. I will take 3 more comments or questions tonight.
The first thing I wanted to say is somebody made a comment that we're getting $1.5 million out of the deal, and I just wanted to put that in context. The 27 acres represents about 25% of the usable developable land for this Evergreen College, and the budget is $100 million. So we're talking about 1% for the budget for giving away about 25% of the usable land. So a good analogy would be if you wanted to rent a couple of rooms in your house, say a quarter of your house might be 1 or 2 rooms, and somebody offered you 1% of your mortgage, that would be about $30 a year. So I don't think anybody here wants to rent out 1 or 2 rooms at $30 a year, yet that's what we're being asked to do in compensation for giving up this land. So that was my first comment. The second comment is that I heard that this wasn't even a legal process because the original terms for the bond was that the land would stay educational use. And I'm wondering how come the city hasn't come forward with the terms of that measure or the actual legal contract under which the land was purchased to, because this has been an outstanding question for a while and it hasn't been definitively answered.
Sure. Yeah. So I've had this conversation with many of the constituents so far, and I brought it up during the office hours with our city attorney's office, and I've been provided with a lot of documentation for this specific issue, and I asked our attorney what the proper protocol is for this. And our attorney's office stated that while this may be a legitimate issue, if it is or not, it wasn't up to our attorney's office to It wasn't their jurisdiction to make that call. So we are processing the land use application, which is separate from the school, as the school is run by the state. So any property or bond or legality issues with how the land was purchased needs to be brought up with the district and then the state level.
But just a follow-up question to that. Is it hard to come up with the language of the measure that was presented to the voters to determine whether or not it said on that it was for educational use only?
I'm not sure.
The state doesn't have any power. I called them. The state college board, whatever it's called. Only this one does.
Right.
Okay, so the state has no say, and I talked to them already.
Okay, I would bring this up with our attorney's office. I've tried to bring this issue up to them now twice, and that was the answer I got both times, unfortunately, so.
I believe this, yeah, it's basically outside our
Or scope.
wheelhouse, legal wheelhouse, so to speak.
The only problem I have with that is that we're asked to take a loan out to purchase this property and nobody knows what the terms of that was. I mean, this is millions of dollars and it's just lost in the ether. So where are those records? In my opinion, it's up to the city of San Jose to keep the terms and present it back to the public if there's ever a question like this. We don't know if this process is legal. And the city who's supposed to be able to answer that is giving us, not great answers.
No, and I understand the frustration. When this was brought to my attention, I went through the process because I thought that this was something that we might be able to cover, and it wasn't. So I'm happy to give you contact information for our attorney's office so you can speak directly with them. So I'm not the middle person, but unfortunately.
Could you make a note of that, please?
Yes, it has been noted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a schedule for that? When they will provide this legal document, or they resolve the issue?
That's up to the school. So the school is independent of the city. They're not under our jurisdiction. They're able to put classrooms on this property regardless of the general plan, regardless of the zoning. They're an independent entity of the city. Because they're coming through us now because they're not proposing to do educational uses like has been suggested by many of you. So that's why we are now processing the application, because it is within our jurisdiction to process the land use. So I have two more questions.
Teacher at Evergreen. I've been there for over 30 years and watched the community develop around it. I'm also a new homeowner. Invested pretty much my life savings in a home across the street from Evergreen. And the gentleman mentioned earlier that he would like to see some nice tall parking garages built on the Evergreen campus, and I can tell you, my neighbors and I, that's just what we love to see in the morning is 4-story tall parking garages. We're on the same page. He also said that we have the same amount of square footage as Deanza and Foothill. I don't see any parking garages out there, or I don't envision any being built in the future. I have a lot of students who ask me, why doesn't Evergreen have like a football team or a baseball team or something like that? Well, we don't have the room. Well, we have all this land out here. Why don't we develop that? Well, we lease that to a developer. Oh, well, why did you do that? Because you have a surplus now. The property taxes have just gone way up and all this money is coming into the district. Well, I don't know. I'm just a teacher, Go ask somebody else. Why are we doing this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. We got all of this land. We could be a Deanza or a Foothill. And people around here want to say, no, you can't. You're Evergreen, man. Just settle.
Yep.
No, let's do it right.
Yep.
We could be, these houses around here are selling for millions now. Why can't we be a Foothill or a Deanza? We hire union. For anything we build out there, it'll all be union. I'm proud of that. I'm in a union myself. I don't know why people are opposed to this. Okay, so that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Two questions. I think I'm a neighbor here, Gen 1. I think a question to our fellow union member. Do you want to have more stores to buy things, or do you want a school, your kids grow up, have a place to learn, to take classes?
Sir, please do not address other community members, only
Question
staff.
number 2.
Thank you.
I think the process is, from what I heard, is the one bidder, and the person who dropped that the change of designation is the only successful bidder. Does that sound kind of a fair process in the
for the board as a government agency. That's all.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. It is now after 7:30. We will be here if you want to.